If you go back and look at the mid-2000s era of gaming, you'll find a lot of titles that tried to stand out, but very few committed as hard to their identity as Destroy All Humans did. Released in 2005 for the original Xbox, this game didn't just give you a different perspective, it made you the villain, dropped you into a parody of 1950s America, and basically told you to go wild. So the real question here in 2026 isn't just whether it was good back then. It's whether it still holds up now in a world of massive open world games, photorealistic graphics, and highly refined gameplay systems. Right away, the biggest thing Destroy All Humans still has going for it is its concept. You play as Crypto 137, an alien sent to Earth to harvest human DNA, undermine governments, and just generally cause chaos. That premise alone still feels refreshing today because even now, not many games fully commit to letting you be the destructive force in such a playful, unapologetic way. The game doesn't try to make you feel like a hero. It leans all the way into the absurdity, and that identity carries the experience even 2 decades later. When you actually start playing, the gameplay loop becomes clear pretty quickly. On foot, you've got access to a variety of weapons and psychic abilities, with telekinesis being the standout. You can pick up enemies, throw them into buildings, toss cars across the street, or just mess with the environment in ways that feel intuitive and satisfying. Even in 2026, there's something undeniably fun about grabbing a random NPC and launching them into the air just because you can. It's not the most complex system in the world, but it doesn't need to be. It's built around giving you immediate, chaotic fun. The UFO sections add another layer to that gameplay loop, and honestly, they're still some of the most enjoyable parts of the game. Flying around, blasting buildings, abducting humans, and fending off military resistance creates this arcade style destruction that feels different from modern open world design. Today, some games often aim for realism and weight, but Destroy All Humans thrives on being over the top and fast paced. The controls are simple, the feedback is clear, and the destruction, while dated visually, still feels impactful in a gameplay sense. One of the biggest reasons the game continues to hold up, though, is its writing. The humor is very much rooted in 1950s sci fi paranoia, conspiracy theories, and satire of American culture during that era. Crypto's personality, combined with Orthopox's commentary, gives the game a constant sense of attitude. The dialogue is sharp, often ridiculous, and sometimes surprisingly clever. Even now, it's the kind of humor that can carry you through missions that might otherwise feel repetitive because you're always curious what the game is going to say next. That said, playing the original Xbox version in 2026 does come with some very noticeable drawbacks, and they're not small ones. The graphics are the first thing you'll notice. Character models are stiff, facial animations are limited, and environments can feel a bit empty compared to what we're used to today. This isn't just a case of it looks old. It's a reminder of how much games have evolved visually. If you're someone who struggles to go back to older graphics, this might be a hurdle. The mission design is another area where the game shows its age. A lot of objectives repeat themselves: scan these humans, destroy this area, eliminate these targets. While the core mechanics are fun enough to carry those tasks for a while, the lack of variety becomes more noticeable the longer you play. Modern games tend to mix things up more, introduce new mechanics gradually, or at least disguise repetition better. Here, it's very straightforward, and that can lead to some fatigue. Difficulty balancing is also something to keep in mind. Some missions spike in challenge pretty quickly, and the checkpoint system isn't as forgiving as what we're used to now. Failing a mission can mean replaying a chunk of it, which can feel frustrating, especially if the failure comes from something slightly out of your control. It's not unfair across the board, but it's definitely less polished than modern design standards. Another important factor in 2026 is the existence of the remake. The newer version of Destroy All Humans updates the visuals significantly, smooths out the gameplay, and adds quality of life improvements that make the experience more accessible. So if your goal is simply to play Destroy All Humans for the first time, the remake is objectively the better version in terms of presentation and polish. However, that doesn't make the original Xbox version irrelevant. There's still a certain charm to playing the game as it originally existed. For retro gamers, collectors, or anyone who enjoys experiencing games in their original form, this version offers an authentic look at what made the game special in the first place. It's also a great reminder of how developers approached design during that era, less concerned with perfection, more focused on delivering a unique and memorable experience. So when you put everything together, is Destroy All Humans on the original Xbox worth playing in 2026? The answer really depends on what you're looking for. If you're expecting modern polish, deep systems, and cutting edge visuals, this probably isn't going to meet those expectations. But if you appreciate retro games, enjoy sandbox style chaos, and want something with a strong personality and sense of humor, there's still a lot here to enjoy. It's a game that succeeds not because it does everything perfectly, but because it knows exactly what it wants to be and commits to it fully. And in a time where many games aim for realism and scale, there's something refreshing about going back to a title that's just focused on being fun, weird, and a little bit chaotic. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And if you want to go a step further in supporting the channel, check out my Patreon, where the latest exclusive video is a discussion on whether PCs and Xboxes are becoming the same platform. It's a really interesting topic, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Thanks for watching, and as always, game on.